Hola, ye sorpresa. It's McKenzie Levi, and I'm the guest host of Político with Juan, Collado, Díaz. And in today's episode, I'm going to take you into the world of controversial performance art. Joining me is a man whose entertainment exploits are so legendary that he's been kicked out, banned, and canceled. Ladies and gentlemen, it's PBapes, Pariano.
Thank you very much for having me, Mac.
So this is a different audience that you're normally used to that don't know you. So let's just jump into the really controversial stuff that you did that's made you a controversial performance artist. So the first one is my favorite. You did a grindcore performance at an Applesbees in Brunswick, like years before they did a hardcore show at Denny's. So can you tell me about that?
Our drummer, John, was working at Applebee's at the time, and they were doing a benefit for muscular dystrophy, and they went to John and they just said, hey, I know you're always requesting off work for your band. Would your band be interested in playing this benefit at Applebee's for muscular dystrophy? And I think he was initially kind of trying to tell him, like, it might not be in your best interest. He was a little bit hesitant, and I remember I pushed for it, and I said, just don't mention it, and just tell them we'll do it, and we did it, and they definitely regretted it. So if you see the video, that video's on my YouTube channel.
Well, I might have to slip in just a quick little snippet of what some of PBapes grindcore music sounds like. What's grindcore music?
Okay, grindcore is a subgenre that's an amalgamation of hardcore punk and death metal.
Perfect for Applebee's.
Yeah, perfect for Applebee's. So, if I recall correctly, there was a harpist. There were a couple, like, Irish acoustic guitarists. And there was maybe a vocalist or two. They definitely did not realize what they got themselves into, so they cut it after. We were done after like 2 minutes. So that video, like where it's like a minute and a half, is the whole performance, and you can hear at the beginning. You can hear like the amp turns on, and she starts yelling. She goes, "Sorry guys," because my amp was like 3 feet away from a table with a bunch of people with muscular dystrophy that were there for the benefit. So, I mean, it was blaring. It was, I turned it down as low as I can, but you can't turn it, you can't turn drums down. So, they regretted that.
Well, 2 minutes is like your average grindcore performance anyways, isn't it?
Something close to that.
Songs are like 30 seconds to 2 minutes long.
Yeah, 2 minutes for us was still 2 or 3 songs at the time.
That is holy shit. And I know you mentioned something. I'll real quick jump in. So
Yeah.
Everything that and all the links and stuff will be in the show notes, which you can find at politicalpods.com. So
Gracias.
that will also be in the show notes. You see all that.
Thank you, Juan.
But another very famous way that you plugged your band was on the Rover in the Morning Show here on 100.7, which is our long time famous rock station. Like everyone knew it growing up. It was like the Buzzard. And so tell us about how you slipped into the studio and got on air for that one.
So that was another interesting back one where we had a friend that we collaborated with, and he actually knew one of the hosts on the show. He knew the host Nads, who passed away, but obviously he was still going at the time. So this friend we had would call them, or he would listen in, and they allowed callers to call in. I wasn't familiar with the show at all. I mean, I had heard it. I've heard, I've worked in pizza shops. I've worked in various places where they're playing radio shows like that. But so they were having a conversation about. Yeah, they were having it's I like Howard Stern. It was kind of a Howard Stern-esque conversation where they're talking about what about those guys that buy people's underwear outside, whatever. And I remember there used to be one of those guys that now that's class. But so our friend called in, and he's kind of fucking with him, and he's like, oh, hey, like, I'll buy your underwear. I'm one of those weird underwear guys. And they were like, come to the studio and buy the underwear. So, of course, he called me and he's like, hey, I'm not going to do that, but you should do it. And I said, I'll definitely do it. So I showed up the next day under the pretense saying, hey, I was the guy who called yesterday about the underwear. My friend even gave me the money. He gave me $100 to give to Nads for his underwear. So I have the underwear framed in my office at home. Definitely, I'm open to entertaining offers on the underwear since Nads has passed.
That's not the controversial part.
No, that is not the controversial part.
It's funny. It's funny that their show sucks so much that they're like willing to just bring on somebody who would buy used underwear the next day. They're like, book them.
I mean, if they can handle it, I like that pretense, like the notion of, if you're talking, I mean, to be improvisational, because we don't know like how much of that is scripted behind. Well, so, like, if they can roll with the punches of bringing a random crazy on, especially if they're actually crazy, I mean, I think that's what made people like Howard Stern great.
Yeah. So, what happened when you went in there?
I went in there. I definitely tried to plug the band as hard as I could, plug any of the escapades, and then I said, at the time, I was promoting the PBapes. It was PBapes versus Grindcore album. So me and my friend, we had a track on there, Incel Gang. We had there was a couple things like that, and then we were also coming off of some kind of my friend Father Seahorse, that was the guy who arranged it. He had an internet series called Potentially Dangerous. So he was doing Potentially Dangerous. I was doing PBapes versus Grindcore. So basically, we conceived of it. I said, okay, I'm going to go on there and I'm going to go in character. I'm going to say I'm this incel guy, and we're also leading up to the promotional campaign, I kept saying there had been some controversy before where we were beefing with some of the people from the grindcore scene because Mark was telling some inappropriate jokes at the gigs. So we were kind of pushing it. We kept saying, oh, you're pushing me to the edge. You're pushing me to the edge. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to do something outlandish. So then that's when we said, okay, we're going to go on there. I'm going to be this incel guy, and we're going to say the N-word, and we're going to push it in a way to be inflammatory to these people to say, oh, you pushed me to the edge. And here's the final Joker moment.
Okay. And you got him there.
And we did get him there.
But the funny thing is it's like, are you doing this for your audience? I mean, the audience of the Rover show is not your target audience for this performance that you're putting on. Your audience is people after, like
that's what I mean. Like, you know what I mean? That's where it's just stupid on my end, but you don't know that until you do it.
About it. Because it's like, those Rover people don't know what you're talking about, like, but your grindcore people do, and they're going to see that, and they're going to appreciate that work that you've done to get yourself into this mainstream. I like to say
it's the exact opposite of that. The grindcore people are the most just hateful, like, because they want to think of themselves as anti-authoritarian, and they want to think of themselves as anti-capitalist, and they want to think of themselves as anti-mainstream. So they really just any form of publicity, any form of public acknowledgement is a huge no-no to them. That's you're a poser, you're capitalist. So it really wasn't as far as like those people hated it, especially because I'm being contrarian to them. If they're saying, oh, we want to have DIY ethics, we want to have inclusive spaces, and then I'm saying, oh, well, I'm an incel and I'm going to say the N-word, things like that. They didn't appreciate that. Rover Morning Glory, the hosts appreciated it. They didn't appreciate the N-word part, but
the review, there's the big reveal. So what's the N-word part? Because that's the controversial part.
And that's where I disagree with you. I don't think that's the controversial part.
That was their tipping point, though. That was their you. What did you say it was before?
Which N-word are we talking about? Are we talking about the hard N-word, or are we talking the regular N-word?
Oh,
What did you do? Tell them what you did.
So I think the video would explain, it really wasn't anything,
You have one video that you've clipped together where you've added some intense music to it, and there it is. You can see yourself building to it.
Yeah.
Was that the moment? I mean,
but what do you mean by the moment?
Was that what was? Because you said you were trying to get them to their edge, to their tipping edge.
No, I was saying I'm going on character where I'm at my edge.
Okay.
So that was my public meltdown, which I really think, if you watch the video, it's a very, very mild public meltdown, what occurs in the video. But then that's when I said, and that's where I'll give you some pushback. I really don't think that speech is very controversial. You'll see it. If you go on YouTube.
What are you talking about in that speech?
That's okay. So what I said in the speech was, it seems to me as if the general trend amongst people these days is that they'd like to fetishize a victimizing lifestyle as a way of displacing the responsibility to take care of themselves. So, again, that was kind of, we're coming off of the controversy where we're getting pushback from music scene for being edgy guys. So it's me being contrarian and saying I don't agree with this social politics. I don't agree with this. Again, to me, it felt very hypocritical being in something like, we're playing grindcore music, so we're playing DIY art spaces, we're playing a lot of stuff like that, and then all of a sudden there is a big push for conscientiousness, and to a point that I think is negatively affecting artistic expression. And I understand now from being involved, if you're involved with any social circle, that's just terms of engagement, where every social circle has terms of exile. Whether you can, there's things you can do, there's things they'll appreciate, and there's things that can get you exiled from any social circle. So again, I was just coming to terms with understanding all these things. So I kind of conflated these things together. I definitely think, I would like to hear your opinion on this. For me, the way I contextualize it is, so we grew up, you know what I mean, when we were younger, everyone was edgy or controversial, and like things I said in this video were not anything outlandish or way over the top for 2009, 2011, 2013 standards. I really think it was, the way I contextualize it in my head is around the election of Donald Trump is when there was a really strong push for, I felt like around that time people started feeling like they had to really prove that they were conscientious. Mm-hmm. As whatever, maybe conservative people would say that this is where wokeism comes from or something.
Waving their virtue signals all over the place.
Yeah, I think they felt like, okay, the majority is in the wrong here, so I need to, and the majority is, one, immoral, and two, insensitive, so I need to, really prove myself to be, I'm not one of them, I'm part of the nice guy resistance, or I'm part of, is where that started coming from. So that's, again, when we were doing stuff, so when we were doing stuff, it wasn't until the very first time I ever got pushback for anything was 2014. We played in Canada, so we played in Vancouver, Canada, and I called the audience faggots. And they pulled the plug on us,
They pulled your plug out of the wall.
Yeah, well, they come up. It was so funny because I called the audience faggots, and again, to me, grindcore, it's very it's a hyper. Yeah, so I'm just coming at it from a high machismo wrestler kind of persona. Yeah. But yeah, it was so funny. I called the audience faggots, and then they were throwing a bunch of beer cans, and I remember playing, and I was like, oh, they love it, like they're getting so rowdy, we're getting pelted with beer cans, and then it turned out it was because they were actually mad. But that was the first time ever anyone actually like pulled me aside or like tried to really be like, hey, I'm like truly offended by this, and I truly feel unsafe by it, and I truly like think it's in the world's best interest for me to try to stop it.
Oh no. Okay, so he had his moment with you, but that didn't faze you, did it?
We thought about it, but it just creates an in-group and it creates an out-group. So we, all our friends thought it was funny. So then I said it again. We were playing a pre-fest show for a warm-up for a festival. Yeah. So I said it again the next day. I waited until the end of the set. But I said it again the next day, and then there's this hilarious picture of these girls like standing in solidarity, flipping me off like while I'm singing after I said it.
But again, I'm just curious about your audience, because is it just your friends? Is it just people like me? Because like your grindcore audience is flipping you off, like.
Well, that's where we're at. So, like I said, like for that show, yeah. So
who's your fan?
That's what we're trying to figure out, and that's what we're going. That's what we're doing this for. Is
what bands are you currently in?
The main ones we're pushing is Abraded. Abraded's about to do European tour around Obscene Extreme.
Sometimes just like metal.
Yeah, it's like old school death metal band.
Yeah.
Death metal, grindcore. We'll do some gigs with MDFL. That's the classic grindcore band from Applesbees.
Yeah, that's the one you mentioned on Rover.
Yeah.
But then you also work with some rappers, and you do other kind of music too.
Quite a few, yeah. Me and INFJ's goated producer, he does all sorts of things, and then the Hellgillies, if you've been around Cleveland, you should know about the legend that is the Hellgillies. So we do tons of stuff, and that's a really great creative hub for us, where we do a lot of experiments in different directions. We've done music videos, hip-hop stuff, EDM stuff. Again, we're kind of trying to this was my first time when we just did Kicked Out Kid. Kicked Out Kid was the latest single I did under my name, PBapes, with INFJ and Hellgillies. And that was the first time I really tried a formal, or at least try to dabble with a formal promotional campaign. So that's the frontier I'm moving towards now, is exploring more so doing short form content like TikToks, Instagram Reels, stuff like that. That's part of the problem. Not the problem, but the just the challenge of having been around for a long time, where, you know what I mean, when we started this, 10 years ago, at the advent of YouTube, you know what I mean, a music video was huge, and now it's like a music video isn't that big of a deal anymore. It's a lot of people, a lot of music promotion guys will prioritize the short form content over that. So that's, to bring it back to what you said, who is your audience? That's what we're trying to figure out by doing all this. So before this, I had the experience, and to bring it back to what you're talking about, Rover Morning Glory. Why'd you go over the edge? Because it's one thing, you can build an audience when you are when you're playing a game, you can comply to social norms or whatever, but you have to feel comfortable in the social circle that you've entrenched yourself in. So eventually it got to the point where I was resentful of the norms that I had been complying with in the social circle, and those are the things I'm talking about, like what I said on Rovers. I believe you guys fetishize a victimizing lifestyle as a way of displacing the responsibility to care for yourselves. By that I mean, we're all hipsters, like I'm a hipster too, but it's like we all have this victim complex, or we all, again, like I said with the election, everyone is like really pushing to like, I agree with virtue signaling, to position themselves as conscientious, and it's creating where I was at the time, it's creating an environment where I don't feel creatively motivated, and I don't feel good about being artistically expressive with those specific constraints. So I was happy to throw that away. I'm not saying it wasn't difficult at the time, but I definitely lost a lot of supporters from doing that. A lot of people ask me, because that's whatever they say, oh, grindcore, I assume these people are into that. I assume these people are into people acting like trolls or edgelords or whatever. Because there were some groups like that. Anal Cunt is the legend of that they're known for that. But a lot of people in the social circle we were in before, we're not into stuff like that. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting my personality out first, and I'm saying like, hey, like for me to build from here, I need to lay the foundation of this is what I'm about. I am about free speech. I'm about artistic expression. I am about I'm totally fine with satire, with humor. I don't care if it's I like edgy humor, so I'm not going to hide that. So there definitely has been some ebb and flow of, at one point, you know, I mean, some people like it, some people don't, some people support you, they stop supporting you. That's definitely happened. But
you think you picked up some fans from doing that?
Yeah, but I think it's more, I've picked up more in quality than I have in quantity. You lose some, you gain some others, but what you gain is in quality. And I think there's people, I know now that there are people that are inspired by what we do, or maybe not even, I think what we do, but how we go about doing what we do. Where I think it's important to put the fun first, and to put the personality first, and to put that authenticity. I don't feel optimistic about competing in an entertainment ecosystem without authenticity, because it's at a point now where everything has been so oversaturated for so long that the only real niche I believe is going to come out is going to be being authentic.
How do you deal with like the negative consequences? What happens to you after you do some of these crazy things where people don't like them?
There's definitely and then that's the other point I want to clarify. So this Rovers thing. People say to me it's controversial all the time. It's difficult. There's an element of it that's difficult for me to contextualize, because I know for certain it would be a lot less controversial had we not been trolling people on the sidelines while we were doing it. So I know when you have a conflicting point of view, or really any point of view, if you have really any publicly stated political opinion or any kind of opinion, there's going to be some people who are fanatical that are hear it, and they're going to think it's, again, their duty. They're going to feel like they're doing something for the world to try to attack you for it. So, but what we were doing at the time is we had beef with the scene we were previously playing with. So after the Rovers thing, you know what I mean, some people would give us criticism, and we would go to war with them in the comments. That is, I don't regret it because I had to do it to learn that now, but that is what I would not engage with that at all now. That's what really gets the stalkers. That's what really gets the people who, really want to try to do something. I've never had any, people like I said, people threaten you, people threaten me with violence all the time. I've never actually had anyone do anything like that, but definitely had multiple instances where there were people who didn't like us, people we got in arguments with in the past, people we talk shit to, etc., that will hit up venues, that will hit up places we're playing at, that will hit up people we know, that will hit up whatever and say, hey, this guy is right, you know what I mean? They just make up shit. This guy's racist. This guy's sexist. This guy is X, Y, and Z. And the good one, the best one they can do is they say this guy's racist, and they send them the Rover's Morning Glory video. And then people aren't going to disentangle that to say like, but he didn't. They're going to say, well, look, he said the N-word, and they're not going to say, well, he didn't say anything racist though. They're just going to take that already that as enough at face value to say, oh, okay, like for some people, but it's at a point now where they do just as much, these stalkers, these trolls, they do just as much good as they do harm, because for every person that drops a gig from working with me because they're offended by the video, someone else loves it. And they don't realize that they make the people that resonate with it even more, to add that persecution complex. And it makes me look, to the people who like that, it makes me look brave, or it makes me look like I stand for something, or they resonate with the being persecuted for liking edgy things, or being controversial, or whatever it is. Or they're just outcasts, and they're just joker people who like to see other people get pissed off.
Do you have any other like memorable incidents or performances that got you negative publicity, like those two big ones?
The very first one was that we were exposed to. I was involved with it, but it wasn't directed at me. We were on tour with a band. I played in a band. I was filling in bass for a band, Swamp Squat, and we were on tour with this band, Nuclear Hellfrost. And the singer, it wasn't even the main singer of Nuclear Hellfrost, but it was a guy that was like doing vocals for some of it. He was like a super edgelord, like wannabe anarchist type guy. So when we were playing in Dallas, and we went to the gravesite of Dimebag Darrell from Pantera, and he did this super. This was in 2014 too. So this is in 2014. So he did this super edgy Tumblr post where he was like, me and my bandmates hate stupid folk and rednecks so much, blah blah blah. So we went to the gravesite of Dimebag Darrell, and I pissed on the grave. And he didn't do it.
I remember that. You were part of that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
So, and then all he did was he wrote fag on a little notepad. Well, I mean, dude, that was crazy, because I was like, holy shit. Like, I remember, so like, it was whatever, he posted it, and then a couple days or a week later, I had another gig with the drummer who was in Nuclear Hellfrost. We were in another band together, and I remember we were sleeping at a hotel, and what we did is we were coming back from Baltimore or somewhere far away, so we drove through the night to like get a hotel at like 6 a.m, and then I remember like starting at like 7, 8 in the morning, and his phone is like bing, 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 and I think it's like an alarm going off or something, and I keep like waking up every couple hours to be like, dude, why the fuck is your phone still going off? Like, turn the alarm off. And it turns out he woke up to like hundreds and hundreds of notifications. People got his email, people got his phone number from people from diehard Pantera fans that were like, we're gonna come kill you, we're gonna find you, we're gonna kill you. So that was the first time I was ever privy to seeing people seeing the public really, really react negatively. I told the story about when MDFL played Fastcore Fest. That was the one where I called the audience fags, and they pulled the plug on the pre-fest show. We did it the next day. It's hard to. There's another time we got robbed. Mark called the robbers fags, and then we got kicked off another show for that. It's all stupid stuff like that. And then again, it's not. And then so we've been kicked off shows, but all that, like, now that goes on behind the scenes from people who have some sort of personal problem or some whatever, and they definitely use that. They use, this guy does edgy stuff. He's potentially morally reprehensible. To do stuff like that.
Do you like travel to places, or do you like?
You just keep going until you find the people that don't care about stuff like that. There's plenty of people who don't care about stuff like that.
Yeah, I know, but aren't you banned from some of the like main clubs that like bands like yours play at?
There's definitely. I've been told that there are certain clubs that have my bands on a blacklist.
Yeah.
I've never been told directly that I can't enter anywhere.
You put on some of your own shows, though, too.
Put on a bunch of shows, and that's what we were getting at with the upcoming is the Adult Mart, Taco Bell.
Yeah, you want to talk about Adult Mart. Yeah, so PBapes is part of these Adult Mart and Taco Bell, these parking lot shows that people have been going crazy over, so why don't you talk about those?
The idea, the initial Taco Bell show, that's all Mitch. Mitch is going on all these. Mitch Freer from Cumjar. So just making sure Mitch gets credited.
What's the name of a band? So I don't know if there's some of these words he's using are English words, but as they're strung together, I understand them, but I don't know if regular people will be able to understand them. So continue though about cum jar at Adult Mart.
Yeah. It's funny to think about
words,
that. So Mitch Freer is from the band Cum Jar. I think they were brainstorming and for the initial Taco Bell show, and they just said, let's just see what happens if we do it. And the novelty of the idea was enough to get a bunch of people there, and it went over fine. The police don't care. Taco Bell wasn't stoked on it, but
I was going to ask, like, how did the
the first one, yeah.
The employees probably didn't give a shit. They don't have to work and they're getting paid. But how did the manager? I'm assuming the manager.
I don't think the manager was happy about it.
No one has permission to do these. I thought they were like set up or something, and there was Taco
Bell wouldn't say yes. We know that. They just got.
Well, as far as I'm aware, Taco Bell has signed on to do the next one.
Oh, so they're okay to do the next one.
So that's the thing that happens is
publicity.
They say this a lot in the industry or whatever. They say don't ask for permission, ask for forgiveness. And so what happens is if you ask them, they go, no, we can't do that. We're not. You know what I mean? We don't have the authority to grant you permission to do that. But then you go do it, and they see, oh, we just got a write-up in Cleveland Magazine and Scene Magazine and blah blah blah, and they say okay.
Yeah, you guys purchased items too, I'm assuming. So
a bunch of people. They definitely got business, and they definitely got promotion. You know what I mean? They got promotion out the wazoo. Same with Adult Mart.
Adult Mart is funny that you guys put it in the sex shop parking lot. And what do you bring in? A generator?
Yeah, bring a generator. I'll have a PA system set up, and then just all the musical equipment.
Cool. Well, I think I'm going to show up at the next Adult Mart one and hit Vanderbrated.
That would be awesome. Adult Mart will be a banger. Another bit, you asked about rappers. We got Chapo on that. Chapo is one of the head honchos at Cleveland.
Oh, sweet.
So a little bit of... So we'll have... we got Ovenhead, Ed's Gaines. These are all the bands playing. Ovenhead, Ed's Gaines, Abraded, Cum Jar, and then the So Icy band got himself, Chapo.
Is there a next Taco Bell one? And do you have a date for it?
He doesn't have. I think they said. I don't know the specifics of what he worked, but Mitch said they're into doing it next year. I think with like 10 bands. And they're down to do it, but I don't think they have the actual. I don't know if they're going to build a stage. I don't know what the. But they definitely, again, you do it, so it's like it's more so passive consent. You do it, and they don't stop it.
Do you want to promote the Adult Mart one and do the date?
Definitely.
That is.
Yeah. That's the Adult Mart on Berea Road.
Gross, dude.
That is on May 25th, 10 p.m. We were originally doing 8. It's at 10 now. It's at 10 p.m.
I'm expecting it to be big.
Yeah.
Is the Adult Mart regularly closed at that time, I'm assuming?
Yeah. Okay, so that's I'll say that, you know what I mean? We did contact them, and they said we cannot, we can't condone it. But we can say that we're not legally responsible for what happens when we're not during operating hours.
But these get pretty crazy. The last one, there was fireworks going off, and you got some wild stuff planned for this one too.
That will be a surprise to be had. What will be going down there, but again, all that matters is that they show up the next day, and all their things are in working order, and nothing is damaged, and everything's taken care of. And Adult Mart was very kind. In the one official statement they issued, they said they weren't made aware of it, but they came in and nothing was damaged, and they wouldn't have known had there not been articles about it otherwise.
Okay, so May 25th, come on down to Adult Mart for a metal show and mosh pit. So there's another thing that you did that was controversial at the time. Now it seems like it's no big deal. But in 2020, when everyone was locked down and no one could go within 20 feet of anybody, I mean, people wouldn't even walk near you on the street. and we thought that public things were over, and then PBapes puts up a flyer for a show he's putting on. He put on the first, at least around here, the first public show after the lockdowns of 2020 with no mask mandate. There was a mosh pit. Like, people were like touching each other, like pushing and like handshaking. It was awesome. So thanks for doing that. But you want to talk about?
Let's give Mark the credit. That was Mark from my band. That was at his house over in Brunswick, and that, if that's true, that's awesome. I'm happy to have that title. If you're saying that was the first one, that was
incredible. I thought there was never going to be a mosh pit again, and it was like, I'm back in one. So yeah, I really appreciate you doing that, especially because that was for all the type of people that are virtue signalers and who would go to lengths to shut that kind of thing down. That was a big risk to like the venue and to like yourself and everything. That was cool that you guys did that.
Yeah, they can suck it.
So
yeah, I know during COVID specifically, a lot of businesses were not happy with people coming like at anywhere. Like, I mean, restaurants were doing this outdoor bullshit and like go to the patio, this is on your business,
pull your mask down while you
pull your mask down while you eat, all that bullshit.
We played we played two crazy shows during the pandemic, and we went to Houston and New Orleans for a weekend. That was at the end of 2020.
Those places like shut down.
So that's what I'm saying. We were able to find people, and again, that's why you got to just do what you do and be authentic about what you like, because it wasn't hard for us to find other people that didn't care.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did one in Houston and one in New Orleans, and I could tell it was the same way. We played in Houston, we played like outside an industrial area at the screen printing shop, and in New Orleans we played just in the middle of this field by a skate park. You were to the skate park?
Yeah.
I know you lived in New Orleans. So over by the skate park, there's a field that we just threw the generator show in, and I mean it was packed, 150 people, and there was a car in there. They burned the car down like during the set, but you could tell. I don't think any of the people there gave a shit about our band, or maybe there were 2 or 3 people out of 100 to 200, but they were just so happy to be publicly gathering that, I mean, the energy was off the chain, and the car got burned.
So I guess just one other little thing that's getting you some attention. I've seen you on from Cleveland. Is you guys are doing some like a DJ set on the RTA line while it's moving.
Yeah.
We don't have a lot of people on the train. It's not like New York City.
Wait, on the Rapids?
Yeah, on the RTA.
That is so freaking cool.
Booth set up, or like, what are you doing?
So that's what we're definitely into the pop-up idea. The pop-up idea is resonating with people, and it's resonating with us. So that was Kyle's idea after we went to the last. Kyle was at the Adult Mart Taco Bell show, and then he said, "I want my slice of the pie." So what if we maybe he threw darts at the wall or had a Mad Libs thing and goes DJ'd on a train? And we said, "Great idea, let's try it." So we had a group of people. It was only like 10 people. But it got posted on the I'm From Cleveland page. There were most people were very supportive of it.
Were you guys in the RTA, like in the Rapid while it was moving, or were you on the station?
No, we're on the Rapid. So he has it's called I think it's Newmark Mixstream Go. So it's a battery powered, it's a rechargeable DJ deck, and then he had a battery powered big speaker, and then we just brought a little table. So we set it up, and then so we went. So like Kyle DJ'd the whole red line all the way from Brook Park to Windermere, and then I took over from Windermere back to Brook Park. We ended up. That was the first one we did. We ended up stopping it after that. In the future, we're definitely going to do that again, and we'll have it synced up with the bus schedule. So, like, we'll have the performers, and we'll say, okay, so PBapes is going to play from Brook Park to Tower City, and then we'll get on whatever, the Green Line, and then we'll have... So I think that's a really great way of incorporating artist localities, their style, and then getting... again, you got to just... What we're doing now is like you want to go to where the party is already at. And you want to go to where people are already at. And we also want to brainstorm ways of making things interesting for people to come to, because there's so many there's so many venues, and there's so many shows. You could be at a show in any style of music pretty much every single night. So there has to be some incentive for things to be fun and interesting and crazy, and just I really want to give people the full experience of what it's like to have a crazy show, to have a crazy experience like that. I want to provide that with all the shows that I do.
So, yeah, it's cool. I like what you're doing. So, is there anything else that you have coming up that you want to talk about?
The Adult Mart Show and stream Kicked Out Kid on all platforms.
You going on any tours?
Yeah. Braided is doing 2.5 weeks in Europe at the end of June for Obscene Extreme.
That's sweet. So, all right, you're living the true rock star lifestyle in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah.
So, this show reaches thousands of people, actually. I don't know how Juan set it up to do that, but a lot of these people would never hear your music, so this is an opportunity. Juan's going to probably play something at the beginning. But
do Kicked Out Kid, for sure. That's what I'm trying to push.
Right.
Yeah.
Thanks, PBapes, for coming in. This was a fun interview. I had a good time talking to you.
Thank you very much for having me, Mac and Juan.
Kick my ass, suck my penis, hell Gilly's bitch, I'm a genius, kick me out, suck my ass, I hope you die in a car crash, getting kicked out and having sex, are the things that we do best, if you got us off and set, then I'm gonna kick your ass, kick again, they hate me for the shit I did, kick again, everywhere I go I'm blacklisted. So you wanna kick me off the show? I don't give a fuck, bitch, I'll throw my own. We're never gonna stop having fun. I'll clap your ass, one-on-one. Oh my god, I'm gonna kick them out. Bitch, I'll shut your fucking mouth. I'm never gonna stop playing gig. If you got a problem, suck my dick. Kick again, they hate me for the shit I did. Kick again, everywhere I go, I'm blacklisted. So you wanna kick me out? You wanna kick me out? Fuck my dick. You wanna kick me out? Kick out like a bitch. You wanna kick me out? Like a bitch. Kicked out, kid. Kicked out like a bitch. Kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me out. You wanna kick me out? Can't kick me out, can't kick me out. Can't kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me out. Can't kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me out. You can't kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me out. You can't kick me out, can't kick me out, can't kick me Político with McKenzie Levi. It's a Spotify original from Político with Juan, Collado, Díaz and Anchor.fm. And it is Chuck Norris approved too. Right, Chuck?
Chuck Norris approved.